Welcome to the Prime Real Estate Network channel on YouTube. I'm your host, Mr. Prime Real Estate, Ric Davis.
And I'm your host, the Texas Real Estate King, LarryWBrooks.
Every week, the King and I will provide you exclusive access to our network of lenders, investors, and real estate professionals from both the commercial and residential real estate sectors.
Now, are you millionaire minded? Or maybe you're a millionaire in the making. Make sure that you subscribe so you can get connected to the network. And always remember, the Prime Real Estate Network, where millionaires are in the making.
Create wealth for generations.
What's up, Prime Real Estate Network listeners? It's your man, Larry W. Brooks, a.k.a. the Texas Real Estate King. Hey, when you get a moment, go ahead and go over to shoplwb.com. You can see the Pure Hustle merchandise that we had over there, some of our newer items that we have in stock, and of course, I got all the books that I've authored. I'd love for your support. You have a great day.
Good afternoon. Welcome to the Prime Real Estate Network Live. I'm your host, Ric Davis. If you don't follow me on social media, I invite you to do so at Prime Real Estate Ric. If you're looking to buy, sell, or invest in residential or commercial real estate anywhere in the great state of Texas, but especially here in our lovely city of Houston, you can reach me directly on Instagram at Prime Real Estate Ric. As always, it's an honor and a pleasure to be here with you this week, man. I want to give a huge shout out to everybody who's checking out the live stream on Facebook and YouTube. Get involved in today's episode. You can leave myself or the Texas Real Estate King a relevant question in the comment section, and we may very well be able to get your question answered during today's show. Hey, man, once again, man, it's great to be here. We have a really exciting show planned for you all. Like, subscribe, share, let everyone know that today we're going to have one of the most highly successful business owners here in the greater Houston area, providing us with her tips for success and how to be able to persevere as a business owner and entrepreneur. Hey, I want to take some time now to introduce my co-host. He is not only a highly successful real estate broker, but he's a multi-time author, serial entrepreneur, and the proud proprietor of the Pure Hustle clothing brand. Thank him so much for sitting in on the Prime Real Estate Network Live. And I'd like to introduce the Texas Real Estate King, Mr. Larry W. Brooks. How are you?
What up, Rick? Man, I'm doing amazing. Can't complain. You know, another beautiful day here in DH Town.
Hey, man, it's good to see you, brother. Good to have you tap in, man. How has everything been? How is life in the world of the Texas Real Estate King? How is everything over at Brooks & Davis Real Estate and just in the entrepreneurial space in general, brother? How's everything going?
Things are sweet, man. With that being said, I first want to say out there to everyone that's watching the show, please feel free to share the video, tap in with friends and associates. We have an amazing guest that's going to share some great gems today. If you're someone that's catching the show at a later date, please like and subscribe. Again, we want to try to get this video to 1,000 likes. And so with that being said, Rick, man, I have no complaints, man. We've been staying consistent, staying busy. You know, it's a season of teaching and coaching and nurturing realtors and real estate professionals on how to take their business to the next level. Last week, I had an opportunity to go over and speak to some students at Champions. And I was excited about it, man. I always love pouring into them. I love their questions. Some of the most amazing questions they're asking is that, you know, when choosing a brokerage firm, what do I think the most important thing is? And I think that, and I told them it's having someone that gives you an opportunity to have a coach and a mentor so that they can meet you where you are, right? In this world that we live in nowadays, some of us are critical thinkers, and so we may learn just by reading and doing stuff ourselves. Some of us need somebody that's going to hold our hands and give us an opportunity to see it through their eyes to learn. So, you know, one of the things that we do at Brooks & Davis, that is something that we do that stands out, is that we do believe in meeting our new agents or our seasoned veterans where they are and teaching and coaching them how to either build out their team or to actually get into the business and be successful and look up 20, 25 years plus later and say they had an amazing career. So those are some of the biggest things that's taking place right now, man.
No, I appreciate you for sharing that information, because those are the type of conversations that you, myself, and other business leaders have so often, especially when we're thinking and speaking to that next generation of business owner and entrepreneurs, those people that are coming right behind us, that's going to be pushing the market forward, pushing the city forward from a business perspective, and just really embracing technology and everything that not only you've adopted, but everyone over at Brooks and Davis, man. So thank you so much for being a mentor for
No
us.
problem. It's always an amazing conversation because the Fed just dropped the interest rates on yesterday, so it's going to be a trickle down effect to where it helps out real estate. And so at a later date, we can talk about that. But just wanted to let people know that it's going to be a trickle down effect. It's going to put more buyers in the market. So we're excited about that too.
And then one of the things that makes that so relevant is because with today's guest, she's gonna talk to our audience about how to deal with the cycles that come with being a business owner, how to be able to deal with the rising market or a market that's waning, and how to right size your business, how to scale your business, and how to be able to be successful regardless of what type of twists and turns the economy or the business market may take. So
that's right.
Before we introduce this week's guest, Larry, could you please just share with our audience a little bit about your background with this week's guest and how you were able to gain her commitment to sit in for this week's interview?
Yeah, here's the thing about entrepreneurship. You get put in a lot of room with a lot of amazing people. I've had an opportunity of watching today's guest through our social media platforms. And man, just watching her move and shake through the business and being a real boss. I've seen her be honored on stages for the things, her commitments and the things that she's done in the entrepreneur space. And we have a lot of mutual friends, a lot of respectful friends that we share. And so just to be able to have her, get her commitment to be on the show today, to share some gems with the people is very, very exciting. So I can't wait to hear and get more insight on that.
Hey, look, without any further ado, I'd like to introduce this week's guest. This lady is not only one of the most successful online retailers anywhere in the online retailing space, but she's also a mentor. She's served as an example for what perseverance and consistency can bring in the entrepreneurial and business owner space. I want to thank her so much in advance for carving some time out of her schedule. You will hear from not only the owner, founder, but also the CEO of Simply Sense Candle Company. Once again, I want to thank her so much, and I'd like to introduce to the Prime Real Estate Network audience, Miss Shan Griggs. How are you?
Good. How you doing?
How you doing, Queen? Thank you so much for sitting in with us on a Thursday.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Look, man, we and Larry are so excited to have you sit in with us, and I want to thank you for giving us and our audience a little insight to how the products and how the Simply Sense Candle Company actually comes to fruition by showing us a little bit about the background. So could you share with the audience a little bit, Shan, about where you're streaming with us live from? Where are you right now currently?
I'm at the Simply Sense headquarters on Alameda, 5217 Alameda, Simply Sense Candle Company. We have a brick and mortar. We have a store. Our online is really good, but our store presence is really good too. So yeah, we're right here at 5217 Alameda. I'm in the lab, kind of.
Shan, is that what sets Simply Sense Candle Company apart from other maybe candle companies or other online retailers, is the amount of energy and love you put into your brick and mortar store? How you actually do have an actual in-person presence where those that are fans of the brand or people who just love candles can actually stop by your store, see, touch, feel, and that type of thing. How important is that for you?
That's important. I think that's one of the things that but I think standing on a really great product is what really sets us apart. So we not only have candles, we have fragrance oils, room sprays, detergent, but everything with our logo on it is really, really good. So that is the main thing that sets us apart. And of course, we set trends. We do the Nike tennis shoe. We do the candle cakes, the desserts. So we do a bunch of different things that kind of really set us apart on the product side. But yes, definitely being able to have a store, being able to showcase our products, and the consumer actually gets to get rung up by the owner. You know what I mean? So I think all of those things play a part in setting us apart.
As you think about your journey in that space, what is it that excites you every morning to get out of bed, get involved? Like, other than the ideal of, us for our financial gains and things like that comes from being business owners. But, in the beginning, it's a challenge. There's always a hurdle. There's always something that's going to go that can and typically does go wrong. But what's still at this time in your career, as your journey has blossomed, still excites you about getting out and doing the things that you're doing inside of that business now?
Because I like to win. So I like for it to be competitive. And I don't think it's gonna ever be a time in business where it won't be a challenge. But the challenge is getting to a certain mindset to know that, okay, I've seen this before, it's gonna pass, or this is the time when I need to try to come up with something else or take another route because the market is going this way or things like that. But I get up every day because I think the passion too drives me, and I know that's the gift from God because I love what I do. So, I'm not gonna say every day I'm like, yeah. Some days I don't want to drive down Alameda. You know what I mean? But because especially like right now, it's like really, 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 really challenging. So, some days I don't want to drive down here, but but for the most part, just because I like to win and I like to, I just love business and learning about it and growing in it and seeing.
Now, was the candle business your first business, or did you have a journey into something else before pivoting into the candle business or scent business?
Well, I just always had an entrepreneur spirit, Okay. So I used to, I was a flight attendant. I used to go to New York, get purses, come back, sell them. So I always hustled something. I always did hair in the trunk of my car when I was younger. So I always did something where I like to make my own money.
That's right.
On my own time. So it wasn't until the candles came, that was 23 years ago, that I started the whole entrepreneur actual real journey.
Yeah. So in your new space, because I noticed that in your I noticed in one of the videos that you had pivoted from one space because it was, I think maybe it was too large and it wasn't fulfilling for you. So in your new space, are you now entertaining guests and bringing in clients to actually do things at the location, or how's that part of the business been going?
Well, so it's really not new because I always started here. Like, this is where I started making candles in the back of my store. So this is the back of my store. My store is in the front. So it was me moving into a warehouse space away from the store. It was bigger because we needed room for more inventory. It was just necessary. So we went to a warehouse space and we were no longer here. And we maybe been there maybe like 2.5 years. So that video you saw was me making a decision and being excited about not being there no more because I don't have a $2,300 bill to pay. And I can just come back to the back of my store, engage more with my customers and kind of get back to the basics of what got me to the warehouse. You know what I mean? So I was excited that I wasn't there no more and I didn't have to pay that bill. That's what that was.
Now, Shan, that's one of the things that really excited me about having the opportunity to interview you on this week's show is because you have a really unique perspective as a business owner while at the same time having a similar experience in commercial real estate. So for people in our audience that are thinking about expanding, who have a smaller brand, who are looking to make more commercial real estate decisions about warehouse space or storefront space, do you have some, not necessarily advice, but could you share with them some experiences or some things that you've learned as a business owner, especially dealing in the commercial real estate space as part of everything as part of your company and brand?
What I will say is don't do things until the money say so. It was the money said that we needed to go somewhere else because we had such an influx in business that we needed to order more supplies. We needed to have room to store them. So therefore it was money for us to be in a warehouse space, But when the money stopped saying that, then, okay, now it's time to go back to where you were before. So it's not a matter of should you get a warehouse, when you've been in business so long and you do it every day, you're going to know when it's time to make a move. For one, the money is going to say so and the demand is going to be there. So, I tell people they come in all the time and they want overhead, they want to see if the space next door is available. It's like, are you even ready for that? Just sell it online. You don't even have to worry about paying $5,000 because as soon as you sign a lease, you already owe $5,000. Now you got to make sure you sell that many items, and you know, that's not real easy to do. People think, oh, I'm gonna get a store, I'm gonna open it, especially if I put it on Alameda, people gonna come. People pass by here all the time and they say, I never knew you were there. I pass by there every day. So just be really smart and wise when you're making moves for your business, so you won't be out of business. You know, because people get excited and be like, oh, I think it's time to move. I think it's time to get another store. I think it's time to do that. But like, is it really?
Let's talk about the economy, economic factors, how that affects retail, and as a CEO and business leader, how that affects your bottom line and your decision making. So right now, currently, what is the state of the economy from your perspective? What are you seeing as far as consumer trends? And what advice do you have for small business owners that may be suffering from being able to deal with the ebbs and flows of business?
Just hang in there, stay tough, do a lot of cutting back. You know what I mean? Because it's something that we don't have any control of, because I watch how I spend my money. So I put myself in the mind of my customers. So, you know, they watching how they spend their money. So what I have to do is I have to go get new customers. I can't keep draining my old customers because they maxing out with me. You know what I mean? So I'm not going to keep draining them. And then it's not enough. You know, dealing with what I have with my customers, that's not enough. So I need to create other streams of income within my business to even try to compensate for what the economy is right now. You know, just do a lot of cutting back and be real with yourself. Look at those numbers, see what they saying, see what this work, and see if you need to cut out on payroll. Or, you know, it's gonna be some hard things but they definitely have to be done. You know, cutting back payroll, personal expenses, you know, getting rid of some things that's not selling, to streamline it, you know, raising your prices, moving from a warehouse, moving here to add, you know, money I'm paying at the warehouse, I could be using that to buy more supplies to get my profit margins together. So,
you know, I'm curious because this is one of the questions that I like to ask a lot of our entrepreneurs that we interview on the show. Is when people meet you today, Ms. Griggs, they meet you as you are at this moment. And sometimes people may not necessarily appreciate how many experiences you've had to help you evolve to the business owner that they're meeting at the time that they meet you. How often do you have to inform people about the 20 plus years that you've been in this industry, going with the ebbs and flows, dealing with the market ups and downs? And how often are people surprised that you've been able to persevere for multiple decades in the same space?
I don't think they surprised because they've been on the ride with me. Because I started selling candles out of my trunk to a smaller space, to a bigger space. And those customers and those people, I've been the same person. So I don't think that they're really surprised. I think they're more proud and they're more, you know, I kind of hear inspired. You know, I don't think they're so shocked. But sometimes people will say, they'll think I just started selling candles, but I don't really get a lot of that. I think people kind of know the journey and know the story, and they've been on this wave with me and they've been consistent. You know, I really do have really nice clientele. God bless me with a really great clientele that, you know, they have money to spend it anywhere else, but they spend it with me consistently for years. So, yeah.
No, I can definitely speak to that, because not only do you have really loyal and passionate clients, but they actually organize themselves and have clubs. And as a candle company, you guys have clubs for your clients. Could you talk a little bit about some of the clubs that Simply Scent Candle clients and Simply Scent Candle fans can join, how they can be a part of your movement and be just a part of everything that you guys have going? Because like you said, with as much time that you've put in, you guys do have your own small community already going.
Yeah. Well, I think, you know, one of the keys to having a successful business that can sustain and maintain through any economy is having various ways of income, you know, so we don't just depend on online store. We don't just depend on our retail store. We have monthly candle subscriptions. We do candle parties where customers come in and make candles. We have fundraisers where teams and schools and organizations, we donate 50% of their profits by them doing fundraisers. We have affiliate programs where if you sign up, share your link, we make money together. Then we have wholesaling where we wholesale to other businesses and they resell for a profit. Then we do all type of custom things, so it's like what I want customers to do is whenever they think about anything having anything to do with fragrances, I want them to think about Simply Sense. When they scroll by me on social media, even if they don't like it, because it's not about that, but they see it. So when something come up, anything, candle party, fundraisers, affiliates, let me go by the store, let me get a gift. I want them to think about Simply Sense, So it's like,
I love the way you diversified your business model. When you explained that just then, I'm like, there's pretty much no one that she's not touching when it comes to her industry, especially when you talk about wholesaling it out to other individuals that may want to sell it out of their retail shops or out of some of their stores. I think that's pretty amazing. Like, is this like layers that, like, as you've grown and as the money is showing you different changes that you can make, these are things that you've just added, or was this like always a part of the blueprint?
Well, it comes from times like this. Okay, it started selling candles in the trunk, boom. Then customers wanted something else. So listening to the customers, but also just adding different streams of income. So when one not popping, something else is going, or I need them all to be at a minimum to equal to maintain, you know what I'm saying? But just having them all in place. So when everything get to TikToking, it's TikToking, but that just come from being in business so long. When this not working, I need to get some more money. I need to, even right now, it's like we need to get some new customers. So I need to get a little heavier on TikTok to get more customers and to do shows like this too, to attract more customers. Because the thing to having a successful business is profitable sales. That's right. Now, however you get them is good, so you got to have a bunch of ways to get profitable sales to be, I plan on I'm highly successful, you know what I mean? So I don't right. Just to come here and play around, and my aim is to be a household name. So
and a big part of that is, like you said, brand awareness and making sure that you putting yourself out there and people know where to go and find you and tap in and just continue to add to the community. Bring that, I totally agree. Yeah.
Then I have a whole CEO Shan brand that started by my candle brand, because it was never like a CEO Shan. It was just me, the owner of the store, blase. But then I noticed the consistency from that and the brand awareness was allowed me to create a personal brand. That's so right. Now I teach candle making classes. I go to lunch with people, discuss their business. They can book me on my CEO Shan site. I have a supplier list. Then I have a business journal then I do conferences. I do brunches and different things like that, just to inspire and encourage and just to connect with other business owners that, take it to another level. So that's a whole nother thing. That stemmed though from having basically a great product and making profitable sales to have a successful business. Then it turns into other things that you don't even expect,
Shan, I want to ask you because Larry and I have always been really curious about the backgrounds of our guests. So when you think about your upbringing as a young lady, were there any members of your family that were business owners, entrepreneurs, that you can think back and may be able to credit as an inspiration or an example?
Yeah. So my parents had me when they were 15. They were in high school. So my grandparents basically raised us, and they both were entrepreneurs. My grandfather used to have juke joints, what those were, like beer joints. So he had 3 of those. So I would go to work with him and count the beer and do all of that and count the money, put it in the register and stack everything. So I really enjoyed that. And then we would go to Sam's and then get all of this stuff, to sell. And then they give me cookies. And then they say, "Oh, Shan, what happened to the cookies?" I say, "Oh, I sold them to the kids on the street," because I would go outside with them and they'd be like, "I want some." I started selling them for 50 cents. They got mad about that, but I was excited to be able to have the money. And then my grandmother, she cleaned houses every day. She had a different person, and so she was very independent. So I got that from her. Like, she didn't have a boss to answer to, whatever. So when I tell her that now, she be like, I wasn't an entrepreneur. I'd be like, really? Yes, you were, because you didn't have a boss. You had a different house you was going to every day, and you was making your own money, and you did that consistently. So, and then I come from a family of hard workers. All the ladies in my family didn't retire from the post office or something. So I woke up seeing people getting up, going to work, having nice things, having new cars, having all these things, but because they got up and went to work. So all that comes from what I saw, growing up. So yeah, I was exposed to that at a very early age. So I think that's kind of like where it all started in my mind.
I want to thank you so much. Larry and I always joke that we have our show right in the heart of the busiest day of the week for business owners, Thursday afternoons. Yeah. So we want to thank you so much for taking some time to sit in with us. But in closing, there are members of our audience that would probably love to meet, greet, interact with you, because your story is so inspiring, and I can see people being drawn to it. So will there be an opportunity for the Prime Real Estate Network audience to come out and meet Miss CEO Shan? Or would you just rather invite us all out to the store? And if so,
you can meet me at the checkout counter right here at 5217 Alameda, Houston, Texas, baby, 77004. You can catch me online at simplysensecandles.com. If you're looking to raise money for your group or organizations, it's dollarstocents.com. If you're looking for some inspiration and some motivation, if you're thinking about getting into the candle business, or you just want to talk about business, it's CEOShan.com. But if you actually want to ever see me, which ain't hard to do, because I'm always at my business, at my store, it's a lifestyle. So you're going to always catch me here. If I'm not here, it's because I'm doing something like this or something else. Mm-hmm. But I'm always at my store. Like, I wouldn't want to be nowhere else. I try to stay home. I'll be like, what I'm going to do here? Just come here. Yeah. So yeah, come catch me. Come see me, y'all. Thanks for having me. This was good.
Thank you.
It was fun, and you're definitely right. You should definitely do more of them. You are built for this. You got the energy for this, and you got the successful track record that more people need to know about, so that they can tap in with CEO Shan. Okay,
yeah, tap in.
Thank you so much, Queen. It's been an honor and pleasure.
All right, thank you so much.
Talk to you soon.
All right, see you soon.
Only the come in.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Man, that was a great interview, man. See, this is where I'm going to bring the Texas Real Estate King, Mr. Larry W. Brooks, back on the screen, because these are the type of interviews that can motivate and inspire so many members of our audience. Larry, that was a really great interview, man. I want to thank Ms. Shan Griggs. I want to thank everybody over at the Simply Sense Candle Company. I want to give a huge shout out to our entire team over at Brooks & Davis Real Estate Firm, and a huge shout out to our team over at the Prime Real Estate Network. Mr. Brooks.
You're totally right, man. I get it. And you know me, it's a sense of the pure hustle behind what Ms. Shan was talking about, CEO Shan talking about, right? Like, I definitely appreciated when she talked about how during your journey, you did the adding pieces to your business, to your brand, to allow you to continue to grow and to meet more people's needs. So for her to go from, okay, let me start this out of my trunk of just different scents to, now I want to host events for people, and then to take it to where there's a nonprofits can take part in a percentage of it, man. That's just wisdom that comes with that. And you know what? Let me not leave my competitors off of this list. Let me add in wholesaling, meaning you don't have to go around and do everything I've done. I'll wholesale wholesale it to you so you can have it in your storefront. Man, that's amazing to me. So definitely was a great guest and had a lot of amazing talk to it.
It's funny because I know this is a transition year for you. This is your first football season without the little daddy in town.
Yeah.
So, I'm saying, what you doing with yourself on these football weekends in Texas now that you don't have season tickets to the high school football games, bro? What's going on in the world of the Texas Real Estate King?
Well, you know what, man? I get an opportunity to transition, and what I've done is I found myself exploring more NFL games because I got a little bit more pep in my step. Exploring more college games, collegiate games. So that's kind of my flow of things lately, man. Just, ride out somewhere and, catch a collegiate game or catch a NFL game. So since I'm not spending that time, overindulging and cheering on my youngster. So.
Okay, now see, I don't like to do this to you often, but I do it maybe once a season, man. So what is your State of the Union address for the Houston Texans? With me residing here locally, I have no choice but to watch Houston Texans television, Houston Texans radio.
Yeah.
So as a card carrying season ticket fan of the Houston Texans, what is the State of the Union in the eyes of Mr. Larry W. Brooks as far as Houston Texans football?
All right, man. I'm gonna be candid. The only way I can be. Now, I've been at the first two games. The opening game in LA, I was there. I saw what transpired. In person. I was at the game we just had on Monday Night Football.
In person.
Already. Here's the thing, man. I think that we do have a good quality team. I think that right now we could have better quarterback play. And people can take that however they want to. Our quarterback is playing under his average. He's definitely a better quarterback than he's showing us that he is. I don't know if it looks like it's challenging. He's having some challenges with his critical thinking, in the passion of the event. So I don't know if he has a lot of worldly things going on, but definitely his football IQ is taking a slip right now. So again, not saying that every other player could be doing better, but we understand that our challenge as Houston Texans is making sure that we get some points on the board. Last 2 weeks ago when we was in LA, you can't have a defense hold an NFL team under 14 points and not win that game. Can't be done. You got to have, if your defense holds somebody, you got to be able to score 3 touchdowns. So at the end of the day, I do think that our lack of achievement is coming down to quarterback play. And I don't care how nobody feel about it.
Nah, I appreciate your transparency, man. I know it's tough. And I asked you that because I knew you had been to the first 2 games in person.
Yeah.
So if there's anybody qualified to give an opinion, it's somebody who done invested ticket money, flight money, and their time.
And I played the game. I played the game since 17 years old. Since 12, 13 years old. So I know what I'm looking at when I look at what I'm looking at. Now, I know that we don't know every play call and things like that, but it's just some kind of things that you notice the good quarterbacks. I ain't even talking about the great quarterbacks. I'm just talking about the good quarterbacks. Our quarterback is playing very average. Great quarterbacks do amazing things all the time, but I'm just talking about the good quarterbacks. The good quarterbacks know when it's time to do a pivot or do this or that. Our quarterback be looking discombobulated all the time, like recently. So we got to figure that part out.
No, I hope they do better, man. It's hard being in Houston with everybody in Houston having a negative opinion of the local football team, man. Everybody just is in a bad mood. So I hope everybody in Houston, man, can find a little extra energy, man. Appreciate you for, giving everybody nationally an update of what's going on here locally.
Still 10 toes down, baby. I'm still going to be there. You know what I'm saying? I'm still there,
Okay. So look, this weekend, will the Texas Real Estate King be making any local appearances? What's going on this weekend in your world, bro?
Man, that's a great question, man. I will be catching a college football game at a state near me. So we'll figure out what that looks like. And other than that, man, I can't say that I'll be outside and about. I'll just kind of be secluded.
Hey, man, look, appreciate you, man. It's great doing the show with you. Huge shout out to you. Huge shout out to you, your family.
Oh, shout out to Bud Crawford, man. Shout out to Bud Crawford.
Yeah, Bud show love, man.
Because he Omaha. I'm now halfway at Omaha native because I got my youngster down there. So for the next 4 years, I'm /Omaha myself, Nebraska Omaha area myself. So,
and look, and I don't do this often. I don't do this often or ever, but since you brought it up, I'll give a huge shout out to Bud Crawford, man, because he put bread in everybody I'm down with life. You know what I'm saying? It ain't often that somebody you like is actually an underdog on the books, so you can make some free money. So big, huge shout out for Bud for putting on as the underdog and breading up everybody who was down with him. So look, man, appreciate you, Mr. Brooks. Huge shout out to Brooks and Davis Real Estate Firm. Huge shout out to everybody at the Prime Real Estate Network. Like, subscribe, share, get involved, join the network. Huge shout out to everybody checking us out on Facebook. Mr. Larry W. Brooks, until next week, myself, and he would like to tell everyone in the audience to please be safe and be blessed.
Be blessed.